everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ungrownups video transmission. I'm your host, Mark, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Arkham Origins Batman from DC Collectibles. This is, of course, Batman as he appears in the new Arkham Origins video game, which was just released, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Still working on Zelda HD for the Wii U, and Grand Theft Auto 5, so when I get rid of those, I will move on to Batman. Spinning around here on the back, you can see some cross-sell for the other figures, a new Joker, Black Mask, and Bane. I don't think I'm going to be picking up any of these other figures. I really just wanted to pick up this Batman. I'm a huge fan of the game series, can't wait to play the new one, and I thought this armored Batman looked pretty freaking cool. Without further ado, why don't we crack this guy open out of his pretty cool shaped package, and take a closer look at this pretty cool Batman. Okay, now we got Batman opened up out of that really cool packaging, and I'm going to take a closer look at him. You guys will know that I have looked at some of the Batman Arkham City figures before, but they're kind of few and far between. I used to collect this line, then I kind of got out of it, kind of sold off all of my figures on eBay, but I am still a huge fan of Batman. I have a couple of iterations of Batman on my shelf. You guys will know that recently we reviewed the Mattel version of Batman, where he's based on the Dark Knight Returns. He kind of used parts from the He-Man Masters of the Universe Classics line, and we just most recently reviewed the Beware the Batman figure from Mattel as well, from the Batman Unlimited line. So this was a figure here, this particular version of the Arkham Origins Batman that I had on pre-order and then taken it off and had it on pre-order and taken it off, because when we first saw this figure way back in February at Toy Fair, all of the areas that were padded on the figure were actually sculpted with this very nice woven pattern that looked like a Kevlar weave. Or like a carbon fiber weave. It looked really nice. It was really cool. The prototype was fantastic. The minute I saw that figure, I was like, yep, pre-ordered. No problem whatsoever. And then we started seeing, more in progress shots of the Batman, and the weave had started to drop out, and it wasn't there as much. Then I was like, nope, I'm going to get rid of it. Then I saw another prototype. It had it. I was like, man, I really don't know. I don't know what's going on with this figure. So I ended up canceling the pre-order, putting the pre-order back on, canceling it, put it back on. Left the pre-order on this time and went ahead and got it. But as you can see, and we'll zoom in closer. Sorry, bats. No weave on here at all. No woven pattern on the armor. And I think that adds a lot of detail to it. And I wish they had left it. I'm kind of bummed that it's no longer there. But it still doesn't mean that this is a bad Batman figure. It's actually not. It's a really cool figure. He's big, he's chunky, he's kind of stocky. This is a Batman figure that's clearly a Batman made for combat. And so, even though I haven't played the new Arkham Origins game, hopefully I'll get it for Christmas, then I'm sure I'll have a better connection with this version of the figure. As it stands right now, I'm loving this toy. This guy is fantastic. So why don't we zoom in and take a closer look at the detail on the armor. Okay, zooming in and taking a closer look at some of the detail here, you can see this is a fantastic head sculpt of Bruce and Batman. I think this is a good height on the ears. I'm not a fan of long ears Batman. I'm actually a fan of short ears Batman. This is about as high as I would want to go with Batman's ears. I'm tilted up just a little bit, make sure they're all in frame. That's about as high as I'd want to go. I know they're a little bit higher in the game, but for the figure, these are very accurate, very adequate length bat ears for me. Not too long. You can see that the bat symbol is sort of stitched and made into the suit. It's not simply painted on, which is always a good deal. I always like it when it's sculpted to the suit. You can see lots of detail here on the side, and we'll get to the articulation in a minute because this figure is very well articulated. You can see that the suit is not just a one-piece suit. It's definitely, its pads and armor sort of not pieced together, but strapped together, bolted down. Looks really good. This, of course, being from the Arkham Origins, which is a prequel, as I understand it, to all the other Batman games. So you're definitely seeing a suit that is in evolution. This is not the final version of Batman's suit. It's one of his first. So you can definitely see the evolution of the suit, how the gauntlet is not a one-piece gauntlet. It's actually a gloved gauntlet with the gauntlet trademark, Batman spikes here on the side, sort of on a different piece than the actual glove. I'm also a huge fan of Batman's utility belt when it's not just simply bright yellow big pockets. I like a functional utility belt. I like a utility belt that looks like it's got different size pouches and canisters and grenades and bombs and hooks and a grappling hook. Like, I want to see a utility belt that's non-uniform. That's just me. That's the way I dig it. I think it makes him look more like a detective, more like a soldier with actual combat bandolier on, and I dig that. Carrying the armor through in the thighs, you can see that they're definitely pads over a pair of pants, which is really cool. Nice carpenter's style, or even soldier uniform style knee pads, protecting the knees for jumps, kicks, bending, lots of crouching. And same thing with the gauntlets, with the boots. You can see that they are definitely armor pieces strapped over heavy-duty boots. So I really like the more functional, more in work-in-progress version of this bat suit and armor. And I think that the sculptors of this figure nailed it perfectly. It just looks absolutely fantastic. So very well sculpted and detailed and painted Batman figure. So why don't we zoom back out, take a look at the articulation, and wrap this thing up. Okay, we're going to take a look at the articulation real quick because I haven't looked at a Arkham Origins figure yet. This Batman is pretty well articulated. Head is on a ball joint, so you get a great range of motion there. The chest has got an ab crunch right there, and also, even though it's got an ab crunch, also has waist articulation that does go 360. The arms are on a pin socket, so they go up and down. Standard joint at the shoulder. You've got a cut joint there as well, so you get a nice range of motion in the arms. And then the hands are on a tiny ball joint because they have a little up and down motion as well. So that's equally welcome. The cape is pretty pliable. It's a very soft rubber, so it kind of moves with the figure. I would have preferred basically a cloth cape with this particular version of Batman, but not gonna fret over it. We do have some out motion at the hip, so you can get Batman if you used a stand, which he doesn't. Oh, he does have one peg hole. If you used a stand, I'm sure you could get some kicking poses out of. You have a cut joint at the top of the knee. You have double jointed knees, which is pretty fantastic. And then you've got the foot, which is on not only it's on a pin socket ball joint, so you can get nice range of motion there with the leg. So I'm very happy with the articulation on this guy. He is definitely a Batman that's ready for combat, that's ready for brawling, that's ready for taking on the menaces of Gotham City. So I'm very, very happy over the articulation of the figure. So like I said earlier, it doesn't have that woven pattern, which I personally, in my opinion, I think it looks pretty fantastic. I would have liked to have seen that in the final version of the figure. I'd like to see that carried through, but I'm not going to let that ruin my overall experience with this figure. This figure is fantastic. It is a must-own for any Batman fan or an Arkham Origins fan. If you're a fan of the video game, you definitely want to pick up this Batman. He looks really, really cool, and he really doesn't look all that out of place when you put him with another figure, such as the DC Direct or DC Collectibles Joker figure here. They're very well proportioned, and they this figure's got some pretty loose ankle joints, I will say that. They're in the right scale for one another, and they look like they definitely could very well be from the same line. That's the really cool thing I like about this particular Batman figure, is that while he is indeed from a video game, he doesn't actually look like he is from a video game. He looks like he could be straight from a certain arc in the comic book series. So that's going to about do it for this review. If you've dug it, please like, comment, or subscribe, and be sure to check out all of our other video transmission action figure reviews right here on the Ungrownups channel on YouTube.com.